All right, folks, we're back again. We have another new novice. He's never been on the ladder before. You're not from England, are you?
No, I'm from Poland.
You're from Poland. And what's your name?
Jakub.
Jakub from Poland. And you like to study the Quran, don't you?
Yes.
You've done a lot of study of the Quran, haven't you?
Well, some.
Okay, and you...
Not as much as you.
But you're a scientist.
Yes, I have a PhD in cosmology, actually.
Whoa, wait a minute. You have a PhD in cosmology.
Yes.
So you are an expert in cosmology.
Well, there are experts more knowledgeable than me, but
You're a lot more knowledgeable than I am.
I know a thing or two.
You know an awful lot about cosmology.
Yes.
And the Quran talks about cosmology, does it not?
Supposedly.
Supposedly? No, it does. So you're going to confront that now as a how do you call yourself? A cosmologist? Oh, sorry. As a cosmologist, what problems do you see with the cosmology in the Quran?
Well, we are told by some Muslims that the Quran makes miraculous predictions about some scientific advancements from the 20th century. We are told, for example, that chapter 51, verse 47 of the Quran talks about the expansion of the universe.
The expansion of the universe going from one to many. From one spot, like the Big Bang.
Yes, that's what the Muslims say.
Okay, so they're claiming the Big Bang is in the Quran.
Yes, but all these claims are a bunch of lies.
Oh, you're making a big statement there. Are you sure you're going to support that?
Yes.
Okay, let's see what he can do with that.
Well, let me ask you this. If the Quran, chapter 51, verse 47, talks about expansion of the universe.
Let's do it right from the Quran itself.
Yeah.
51, verse 47. Go ahead, talk while I look that up.
Why didn't medieval Muslims in the 10th century, 12th century, 14th century, why didn't they teach that the universe is expanding?
Okay, this is what it says. With power did we construct the heaven. Verily, we are able to extend the vastness of space.
Yes, and some Muslims say that this refers to expansion of the universe.
Oh, I see.
It's not clear from this translation, but the point is, this has never been the claim before 20th century.
Vastness of space means it's huge.
Yes.
There's nothing about moving out. There's no movement in this verse.
Yes, but some Muslims translate it as steadily expanding. I think there is a translation which uses the modern findings of cosmology, and it lies when it translates it as the universe.
So they're imposing on the text.
Yes.
That's called eisegesis. There's a word for it in theology. Exegesis is when you take what the author said and you say what it is. You don't add to it. When you add to it, that's called eisegesis, that's called commentary.
Yeah, so let's see what Ibn Kathir said about this verse before any discoveries.
Okay, give me his date.
Ibn Kathir.
Give me his date.
Pardon?
Give me his date. When was he writing?
I think 13th century.
13th century, 1200s, yeah.
Yeah, he says about this verse. We constructed the heaven, meaning we made it as a high roof protected from falling. So Ibn Kathir thinks that this verse refers to a high roof of heaven which is protected from falling. Does that sound like modern cosmology?
No, it doesn't. Okay, so already he is what we would call him a tafsir writer, which means he takes the Quran and explains it. He does commentary. So even he, in the 13th century, did not have that view of it.
Yes, so he refutes the scientific miracles narrative.
And because he would not have known about the Big Bang Theory in the 13th century.
Yeah.
So this is a modern interpolation.
Yeah, and then he continues. Verily, we are able to extend the vastness of space thereof. Means we made it vast and we brought its roof higher without pillars to support it. And thus it is hanging independently. Again, nothing about steadily expanding the universe.
Because he would not have known about that.
Yeah.
I'll forgive him for that. But then why do modern Muslims believe that this is what it means?
They are twisting the verse in order to conform it to the modern cosmology.
That's called eisegesis. Okay.
Well, I have another question. If the Quran was ahead of science 1400 years ago, then we know that science hasn't been finished yet. We are still making scientific discoveries. If you are a Muslim, what about you show me a verse on the Quran which is ahead of science today, and then we will see if science 20 years from now, 50 years from now confirms, or even better. You can make an experiment yourself and check whether a verse on the Quran gives correct predictions. For example, there is a verse about Allah striking down the demons using stars.
Oh, this shows. Who are trying to listen to the Quran being
Yes.
read in heaven.
Well, if you think that the Quran makes miraculous scientific predictions, then you can make an experiment yourself. Go in a rocket, go up to heaven, and see if you will be stricken down by a star.
Okay. Now, Muslims' comeback on that is, those are the asteroids that we see coming across the night, in the night sky. They always happen pretty much around the same time every year, right?
No, but this is about stars because the stars
Oh, the
are
stars
are the things that adorn the nearest heaven.
Okay. They will say it's asteroids, not the stars. That's how they get around it.
Asteroids adorn the nearest heaven. Do we see asteroids adorning the nearest heaven?
Wherever would you place heaven if you were a Muslim?
Pardon?
Where would you place heaven if you were a Muslim?
Above us.
Yes. And obviously, if they say they're asteroids, that means we're up where they are with our rockets, are we not? And heaven's not been there. We've not seen it yet, have we? So that would shut that down.
Yeah, and the Quran.
So these are stars, is what it's saying, what the Quran's referring to.
Yeah. And regarding the heaven, we know that the Quran teaches that it's a solid firmament, a solid dome above earth. The Quran says that it is adorned with stars. It says that day and night wrap around it as if hood around a head. It says that it has gates.
Like a hat, you mean?
Yeah, or a
wrap,
hijab,
like a wrap. Okay.
A wrap around the head.
Okay. Or a turban.
Yeah. It says that it has gates through which water flooded in the days of Noah. So how could such a dome be steadily expanding? It doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make any sense. I see what you're saying.
It says that humans could, in theory, climb up to heaven if they really tried.
Okay. So, in every one of these situations, where do you think they got these stories from?
From the prevailing belief of the time, from the beliefs
From the
in
8th, 9th, and
Mesopotamia.
10th century. These were common knowledge. These were quite popular, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay, so these have been borrowed from other sources.
Yeah.
And when you borrow from other sources, what you borrow, if they're in error, your material is in error as well.
Yeah.
So is that your conclusion here?
Yes. The Quran borrowed from other sources which were in error regarding the cosmology, regarding other scientific facts, and that's where the errors came into.
Okay, do we have that problem with the Bible?
I wouldn't go into that.
Okay, so you notice we can't find any scientific errors so far, though they have tried for 1,200 years to find error after error after error. So far they haven't been able to. So when you look at the Quran, which we know is eternal, which we know according to what Muslims say, well, they say, I'm not saying I don't believe it, but Muslims say it's eternal. Therefore, it has no error, right? That it was sent on Muhammad complete, right? Then you cannot have these errors in it, written by men. Is there anything more you want to say, Jacob?
Yeah, this is a good summary.
Okay, so in every case, if this is eternal, it is without any human manipulation. You're showing that every one of these are folk tales, yes, sometimes passed down from one culture to another. And they put it into the Quran. Muslims today see there's a problem, but Ibn Kathir didn't see it was a problem. Ibn Kathir didn't realize about the Big Bang Theory. They do so today, so they're imposing what they now know today on a text which says nothing of the sort.
Yes.
We read the text, it doesn't say that. To me, that shows that this is desperation. I would say desperation.
And there are many different examples. For example, the so-called embryology in the Quran. The Quran says that humans in the womb are created from a liquid, but this is inconsistent with modern embryology. We know that humans are created from a single sperm and a single female egg, not from a liquid. The Quran says that an embryo is a hanging drop of blood, but this is false. The embryo is at no point a drop of blood. It says that the bones are clothed with flesh, but we know that bones and the flesh develop at the same time, develop in parallel. So none of these so-called miracles make sense.
Now, actually, that comes from a Jewish scholar who wrote it. You know his name?
Was it Galen?
Galen, from the 2nd century, who was living in Ctesiphon, which now is Baghdad today. So he was writing this right about the place where the Quran was written. Galen writing these 4 stages of the embryological cycle, starting with the embryo, to the zygote, to the bones, to the flesh. He made an error. That error is incorporated into the Quran. Once you copy, you got to go with the error that's in the Quran, that Galen made. Now we know that Galen did not have divine knowledge. That's why he made that error. Don't copy error. But the Quran cannot make that excuse. If it's from Allah Himself, if it is eternal, it does not make clumsy errors like that. Thank you so much, Jacob. God bless you. Come back again next year.